I'm Will Hardy, husband, father, entrepreneur, hotelier, and filmmaker, and a man in the middle of his story. I've had wins, I've had breakdowns, I've had moments where I felt unstoppable, and moments where I didn't know if I could take one more step. And I know I'm not the only one. This podcast is a place where we tell the truth, where leaders, dreamers, husbands, wives, entrepreneurs can come clean about the real journey. Because together, we heal faster. Together, we get clearer. Together, we rise. This is an invitation to walk with me, not after it's perfect, but while it's still being written. Welcome to Interrupt. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Will Hardy with the Interrupt podcast, where interruptions are not always a bad thing. They're actually a very positive thing. I've got my dear buddy and producing partner on this show, Terry, with me today. And this was his idea, but he thought it would be a good idea to do just kind of a fun question and answer collaboration back and forth.
Absolutely.
Just to get to know me a little bit more, get to know kind of the background of how we met and why ultimately you thought this kind of was important
Yeah,
that we interrupt together.
that's correct. I'm interrupting your show.
It's all good, man. This is going to happen a lot.
It's a takeover. No, I'm stoked to be a part of this. It's fun to actually sit here, because we've been mulling this over and knowing each other for a couple years now, and I'm reminded of when we. I guess I joke about this probably too much, but when I see somebody and I'm like drawn to them for reasons that I can't define in the moment, uh, getting to actual create something with them and sit down with them and have long conversations with them. And Lord knows we've had a lot of those conversations where we're like, we should have pushed record on something somewhere. It means a lot. It means the world to me. And I guess I have to thank you on one level, because there was, I'm extending my hand and I'm trying to get to know you in certain situations, and you were so kind to me. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, who is this weirdo? You were nice enough to come on our podcast, the Ground Up podcast. And that for me was a game changer. Getting to hear your story. I had no idea the depth of it. And I can honestly say that podcast for me was a life-changing podcast.
Wow.
And those don't happen very often. Just like the deep conversations.
Sure.
So man, even last night, like we were, playing in the show and we were with our wives and we went out to dinner last night and we just level 10 depth. And I know that can be terrifying to a lot of people, but when you get in that space and you feel safe, a conversation flows, you're helping each other deal with trauma. You're helping each other change their perspective on their trauma, maybe. That is a very special, very unique thing that is just not very accessible. And I hope that this show changes that.
Come on, man.
So we gotta give a little bit of, context to who Will is. What outside of all of our deep conversations, and they have been plentiful and in various different places, and it doesn't, they mean a lot to me. But what is your why? Like, why interrupt? Why now in Bardstown, Kentucky? Like, I want to hear it. Give me your passion.
Yeah, man. Well, first off, thank you for being a good buddy, a good friend. I've thoroughly enjoyed every one of those conversations that you're talking about, and they are rare, and they're unique, and they're invigorating on so many levels.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're the very thing that puts wind in my sails, the why. So I'll tell you kind of a fun, quick story. So this was back, I did some traveling, kind of men's motivational coaching, speaking, in kind of my mid to late 20s, when I was in Georgia. And I really just had one hope in mind, and that was to encourage men, right? To bring some level of hope. Now, mind you, I had no real life experience at that point, right? I just newly married. I had no children at that point. Now I've been married for 23 years. I want to say happily. That's the appropriate way to say you're happily married for 23 years.
Exactly right.
But I'll dive into that a little bit more. And I am madly in love with my wife, and I'm so honored and proud to say that. But it's been 23 years of heaven and hell, right, on so many levels. So now I've got 4 kids as well. Got an oldest son that's in college. I've got two that are seniors in high school, one that's a sophomore. So, you look back on the why, and when I was younger and I was green and I was naive and still like that in a lot of regards. But I'll never forget one story. I wanted to, I grew up in a very similar pattern that a lot of men experience in fear, right? Is that, you're only accepted by your level of performance,
Hmm.
right? And so even as a young boy, some of this was family induced, some of this was just nature nurture choice, but I was always that kid that wanted to or felt the need to perform to get a level of confidence or get seen or get accepted or get a pat on the back or whatever it is, that whole idea of like, feeding the ego
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
concept, right? And that's how prominent that is that in men. I mean, really,
It's an epidemic.
yeah, I mean, it really is. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it is, and we don't talk about that a
We
lot,
don't
right?
know.
And so I was getting up to speak at probably one of the biggest conferences that I'd been invited into at that time. A couple thousand men, I think, is what it was. And man, I'll never forget like feeling the deepest level of insecurity that I think I'd ever felt before.
Mm.
Right? Like it was 2 days before the conference, and my mind was just all over the place. It was so jumbled, and I couldn't come up with just the topic, just what I wanted to do. And I was so in my head, and as you know, sometimes you can get so in your head you get out of your heart,
Oh
you
my
know.
gosh, yeah.
And so I'll never forget this. I was just kind of meditating, thinking about the message, writing notes, scratching them out, writing notes, scratching them out. Just didn't feel right, didn't feel authentic, didn't feel real. And I finally just said, I'm going to take a walk in the woods. So I took the afternoon off, just went out into nature, which has always been very therapeutic for me. And I remember just walking kind of quietly, talking, praying, meditating, thinking. And all of a sudden, I saw a flock of geese in a V formation fly out of nowhere above my head, right? And just the honk, were just so loud and so. I mean, it almost like was reverberating in my body a little bit, and it just stopped me in my tracks. It took me out of my head, and I started focusing on really God's creation, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like I heard something, some level of a small voice that said, "If you understand the life of the geese of a goose, right, then you understand the life I want you to live." And I was like, "What in the world?
What does this mean?
What in the world?"
Yeah.
So thank God for Google, right? I go home and I'm Googling like, trying to find any
Yeah.
tutorial I can about geese and what's the point of a purpose of a V formation? What's the purpose of the honking, so on and so forth. And what I found out was fascinating, Terry, and that is that these geese, right? There's always one up front that's basically fighting through the resistance. They're the one driving through the wind, through the terrain, through the clouds, through the bad weather, whatever it is. And as he's doing that, they're all sitting in V formation, which is basically taking the weight, taking the pressure, taking the pain off of them,
Hmm.
the other producers in the V formation. And I found it fascinating to find out that the one in front is not honking. The one in front is striving, pushing, fighting, and the other ones are behind honking, and they're basically there encouraging the one that's leading, saying that you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. Keep fighting. Keep going. We believe in you,
So cool.
right?
Yeah.
How many men just need to hear we believe in you?
Right.
Right. And then of course, as you know, finally that one will get tired and he'll
Mhm.
fall back and then somebody will take that place. And I just felt that day that there was a need for if you get out of the performance aspect of trying to motivate others or encourage or lead by servanthood, you just get to this real place that you realize that it's not about you,
Mhm.
right? It's not about you. It's about taking turns to help one another and fight for the highest possible good of each other.
Yeah.
And so it just that changed my perspective on so many different regards that day. And I just said, that's it. I'm not going to, this is not about me, right? This is not about my performance. This is not about, do they like me? Do they not like me? Am I a strong speaker? Am I not a strong speaker? Do people receive it? Do they not receive it? It's about, look, at the end of the day, I want to do just one thing, and that is bring a hope of encouragement, plant a seed in somebody that says, you're more than capable. Get up,
Yeah.
keep fighting, right? And so that story leads me to the fact that that is kind of my why behind this
Mhm.
podcast, right? I wanted to build a safe place for men to come and have difficult conversations. We don't do that enough. We
No,
talk about that,
we
right?
definitely don't.
And I feel like I'm finally at a place in my life at age 47 when I've experienced a lot of highs, but also a lot of lows. And I want to share the raw story of what that really is. We
Mhm.
all have an Instagrammable version of our
Sure,
life,
sure,
right?
sure, yeah.
And then there's the reality of who we are, who we really go to bed at night when we're by ourselves, and how we think, how we feel, what's going on the inside of us, what weight are we carrying that the world doesn't understand. And I just think it's appropriate time to launch this. And now more than ever, where our country is, I have so many friends in their 40s going through, really extreme divorces. I've got friends going through loss of children. You know, I've got friends who've had their businesses literally go bankrupt and corrupt. And I've sat with these men and I've held them. We've cried together. I've tried to bring encouragement to them. And at the end of the day, we're not saying this enough out loud, especially the mental health aspect of what we need as men
Right.
to continue to be the leaders that we need to be to lead properly. And so that's it, man. I wanted to bring a platform that gets into the messy middle,
Mhm.
the raw, the truth, the openness behind what really goes on behind the back of the mind of every man who's trying to find the true balance of what success really is.
And I see that I see it in so many different ways and in knowing you for the amount of time that I have. First of all, guys, this guy Will sends me the kindest voice memos I have anybody that I've ever experienced. Nicer than my mom. Sorry, mom. No, it's thoughtful, it's kind. You do I've even seen you in crowds where you are you're a magnetic personality and people are drawn to you. In that moment, you can see certain individuals, and I could envision these in different circumstances throughout my life where that puffs them up. That's
Mm,
not your style. And in as one experiencing your friendship and your love, even just the other day when you were like, no, something's going on, give it to me. And I'm
mm,
like, but I can't. No. And you just draw that out. Well, the point I'm trying to make here is that what you are capable of doing in those circumstances is helping guys feel seen in that moment.
mm,
And knowing that about you, this could not be a better platform, a better idea for that. So I'm so
mm.
stoked about it.
Thank
I'm
you.
stoked about it for the reasons that you've mentioned, because we don't say these things enough. Guys don't let their guards down. We're afraid of who we are at our core.
Hmm.
And we think we're the only ones
Yeah,
that are struggling with the things that we're struggling. So,
sure, sure.
as a I mean, you've been a friend to me, you've been a mentor to me, you've had to bitch slap me when I need it, and I need all those things are all those like that to me. That's what masculinity looks
Yeah,
like. That's what
yeah,
healthy masculinity looks like. It's firing on all those
yeah, man.
cylinders. It's
It's iron
faith.
sharpening iron.
It's leadership. It's family.
Yeah.
It's how your business, and no matter whether you're a leader in that business or not, but how do you lead in every one of those roles?
Mm,
Um, so getting to experience our friendship,
yeah,
getting to see your vision for this, getting to meet your family and watch and see what you've built,
yeah.
uh, and knowing what you've gone through.
Mm,
Um, it's an inspiration, and I'm excited for the show. I'm excited to see
mm.
uh, the stories that come out of it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's first off, thank you for the kind words. But it's I think you know this about me, right? It's I have a tendency to wear my heart on my sleeve. And there's a place that even in this, right, this makes me somewhat uncomfortable, right? It's anytime that you allow your life to be exposed, right?
Sure.
Again, not on social media the way that we want to hide and the way we want it to look and the way we want it to perceive, but really the truth, the dark night of the soul experiences that we all have as men.
Yeah.
And, so there's even a part of this, I just want to say that as I'm even starting this podcast, there's a hesitation, right? There's
Sure.
there's there's a place inside of me that there's those little voices that you start hearing. And we've talked about this.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of times when you're on the right track or you're moving in the right direction, or anytime you're breaking through a barrier, right? I don't care if it's an exercise, I don't care if it's in mental health, I don't care if it's in starting a company. You always get those little internal voices that start telling you you're crazy, Nobody wants to hear you. Nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody needs to hear this.
Yeah.
Whatever line excuse that you can come up with.
Right.
And that's really, I think, if anything, what I really want to model is that I'm not a leading expert, right? I'm proud to say that I've experienced really high levels of success, and I would say that's another piece of it. Why is it the right time now? And I think it's because, number one, this is not about me,
Mhm.
right? Number two, this is not about trying to be somebody I'm not. It's about leaning in to finally being comfortable enough in my own skin to be who I really am, share the stories, inspire and encourage others. And you know how this is, man. It's kind of like people want to follow people who have seen some level of success in their life, right? And I say that humbly, but
Sure.
I'm saying that it's a platform now that I've been able to build
Yeah.
that has opened up a lot of doors for me. It's opened up a lot of opportunities. I mean, just even the guests that we're going to be having on the show, right? I mean, these are high level entrepreneurs and authors and
Mhm.
business people and women and sex therapists and neuroscientists and spiritual leaders. And so it's pretty awesome, man, that the platform's there, the opportunities there, and all these kind of behind the closed door conversations that I get to have with some of the greatest people that I've met. I want to bring those to the world, you know?
I'm here for it. I'm so excited. Would you say that Interrupt is an invitation for men to lock arms with you, and what's the what do you hope is the outcome?
Yeah, so 100%, man. I really believe that there's a power in numbers, right? There's a power in multitude. And, not to get too spiritual in this regard, but faith come by hearing,
Yeah.
right? And I believe that there's not enough talking about the good and the bad and the ugly of every man's life,
Mhm.
right? And I don't know about you, but there's been so many moments where I found myself in a dark season or a very insecure moment or a moment that I felt like I wasn't enough or that I failed in a situation. And then sure enough, I just happen to find myself in another conversation where somebody else tells me they're going through the exact same thing at the exact same time. And I'm like, what? No, you? And it's just like even hearing that, even coming alongside of another brother, another man, another entrepreneur, another business owner, maybe somebody that's older than you, maybe it's somebody in your same position, just to go, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. I see you. I got your back. I've been there. I've done that. And it's the power of the testimony ultimately, right?
I agree.
It's like if I can see that business, that deal can be resurrected in you, if I can see that marriage can be resurrected in you. I mean, that's what I tell everybody. And that's what I'm going to be sharing a lot about this podcast. I'm telling you, if I can have a successful marriage, anybody can. And I'm not going to dive into that today, but I'm going to dive into those stories on a very intimate level of what
Mhm.
my wife and I have had to fight through to finally get the closeness that we've always desired,
Yeah.
right? The intimacy we've always desired. Same with parenting, right? It's like you hear a story of a father going through a situation, and it's just like, man, I can so relate to that, and it helps me. So, at the end of the day, what I'm hoping is that there's a movement,
Mm.
right? There's a creative movement. There's a movement of vulnerability and transparency. Nobody was even really, I mean, you go back to even the word therapy, right?
Right.
It's like nobody was talking therapy 20 years ago,
You're right.
right? It's like in the thought of going to a therapist or a counselor or anybody else to receive guidance was almost like you were weak, right? You were weak. You weren't enough to kind of get yourself over the hump, right? And
Mhm.
so a lot of men come from a past generation of other men who had to fight their asses off in much harder times, much difficult spaces, didn't know much about physical touch, didn't
Mhm.
know much about romancing a wife, didn't know much about, raising a children on purpose or, building safe spaces for your kid to have agency. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean,
Yeah.
we grew up, it was
What are
like,
those words?
we grew up, it was like, don't do what I do what I say, and you're like, does that work?
Right.
I'm like, and no. And so I really hope that through the process of talking about, the failures, right? And the ability to get back up and continue to fight. I believe that's going to be relatable to so many men out there, and not just men, but I think women. I think women are going to really enjoy this podcast because we're also going to be talking to women,
Yeah.
leading experts. My wife, what do you need from a man? What are we missing? What are the things that hold us back from true closeness, true vulnerability, true intimacy? And then you get into the word vulnerability,
Mhm.
right? I mean, like, are you kidding me? I think, Brene Brown was kind of one of the leading experts that really started talking about what vulnerability looks like, you know? And again, vulnerability is not weakness, right? Vulnerability is that openness and that ability to go, because I just, this is what's worked for me in my life. If you don't stop and acknowledge what the fear is, what the anxiety is, what the doubt is, just exposing that doesn't make you less. It
Yeah.
doesn't make you weak, right? But sometimes you have to bring things to the light to bring out a greater awareness in you. Like know yourself to lead yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's like there was a moment to where if you don't realize you're truly prideful, you're probably never going to work on your pride, right? Right?
Yep. Yep.
If you don't know that maybe you've had 3 or 4 failing businesses, right? Maybe if you never stop to go, why is this not working? Why am I beating a dead horse? Maybe you're not in the right space,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes we have to go through enough pain, enough rejection, enough mental frustration, if you will, to finally stop long enough to ask the tough questions.
Mhm.
And so vulnerability is going to be a huge part of this, to where men are going to hear things that I think are going to motivate them to become the highest version of themselves, encourage them to become better leaders, and then quite frankly, just let them know they're not broken.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I love saying that. That's so it's shame off you, right? It's,
Yes.
I mean, how many times you heard this shame on you, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, shame off you, bro.
Mhm.
You know? And because we all know that we want to be the best version of ourselves, right?
Mhm.
It's how many times we had the conversation, you're like, okay, just how do you do that? You know, and I'm like, and how many times have I
100%.
said, okay, great, I got that. Just tell me how to do it so I can do it. Because men, we want to fix things.
Yeah.
We want to create a quick pattern, and this is a life work, bro. This is an absolute life work of peeling back the layers,
Mhm.
healing the little boy inside of us all that is crying out for attention, that's crying out for a hug, that's crying out for approval or acceptance. Um, we got to start there, man.
That's right.
And that's where it gets, those are hard conversations.
Those are hard conversations, and I think you're alluding to something. I know the term is overused. It's imposter syndrome. I
Yeah.
know, but it is so relevant, especially with us guys. Like the we're often protectors and providers. We're bent that way, and we cannot do those things from an empty,
Mm,
like an empty vessel, an empty cup, an empty, an empty quiver. There are no more arrows.
yeah.
Like it's time.
Yeah.
It's time to alter that. It's time to change that. It's time to uh interrupt it, if I may.
Yeah. That's right. There you go.
Well, before we close this out, give everybody a little snapshot about some of these guests you got coming on, because you've been working on a
Hmm.
guest list,
Yep.
and I don't know how much you want to tease everybody,
Yeah.
but I know I want you to tease everybody. So let them know what they're in store for.
Well, let me say this. I won't throw out specific names right now,
Sure.
but I will tell you that we've got leading experts in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got highly successful best-selling authors that are going to be coming on that I believe have helped shape me personally and my own, inner part of my soul.
Mhm.
We're going to be talking to therapists, marriage counselors, leading experts, sex experts that are going to talk about the messy parts of marriage that
Mhm.
we don't like to talk about sometimes. We're going to be talking to parent experts. We're going to be talking to actors, man. I've got a film business, right? So
Yeah.
we're going to be bringing on some actors and some producers talking about the struggle of their own life in the industry and finding the balance. So man, we've got a whole plethora of and that's my one promise to the audience is that we're going after content that matters.
Yeah.
And every episode's going to be a little bit different. Some of it's going to be marriage podcast stuff. I do want to hit on that. We're going to kind of really focus on 4 pillars.
Mhm.
The first one's going to be basically success without losing your soul,
Oh man.
right? What does that really look like? Because I've had those defining moments where, again, on paper, in the bank account, on the front cover of real estate magazines, whatever it might be, it was, I've made it, right? The world thought I'd made it, but yet I was still crying myself to sleep at night. I was still not showing up the way I needed to as a husband and as a friend, right? And a father.
Mhm.
So there's going to be many conversations we talk that, the whole play interrupt, right? It's a fun play on words of interrupt, right? And I've had divine interruptions in my life that have been so, um, gosh, so impactful, so powerful, scared the shit out of me a lot of the times, right?
Sure, as
Like
it should.
broke me down to what I felt like was nothing,
Yep.
right? To help me rebuild something better and bigger. But from a place to where I'm not building out of my achievements anymore. I'm building from a place of purpose, and I'm also building from a place of peace.
Mm.
And that's a huge thing, and that's a hard thing, man.
Yeah.
You know? So that's one piece of it. So we're going to go deep on entrepreneurship, what the entrepreneur spirit looks like. It's not for the faint of heart.
That's for sure.
And really the struggles of the balance of how to do that,
Right.
right? And when. Second piece is marriage, obviously, right? It's
Yep.
like what does all this really matter if you get to the end of this and you can't share it with the one you love the most?
Right.
Right. And so I'm going to be talking about, and my wife's going to be sharing. I can't wait for you to hear her version of our marriage.
Oh, I
But
can't wait either.
you've already heard some of it. You've already heard some of it. And but she's a powerful voice, man.
Yeah.
And she has been one that's really helped hold me to a different standard, not because she was disappointed in me, but she believed we deserve more together as a
Yes.
family. And so we're going to be talking about those hard issues. We're going to be talking about parenting, right?
Mhm.
It's the idea that you want to build a safe place for your children. I've got 4 kids that are all in their teenage years, and I'm honored and proud to say that now we have built safety to where when they're really struggling, when they're really going through the issues, when they're going through that first breakup, that heartache, when they're going through that disappointment. I've got a son in college going, Dad, I just don't know what I'm supposed to be, and all the pressure that comes along with that. It's like they're coming to us though.
Yeah.
We get the open conversation to not tell them what to do, but to encourage them, inspire them. My children want to be with us. And I'm happy to say that,
Mhm.
that wasn't, they've always loved us. Of course, your kid desires to be with their father, right? But there's a different place to where, at some point as they get older, you become more a friend,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
In that transition. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that. The fourth pillar is really what got me into the seat. That is how my kind of divine interruption came when my ego couldn't take me any further,
Mhm.
right? When my performance couldn't take me any further.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're no spring chicken anymore, buddy.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So the energy level that I had at a 25-year-old to keep my cards close to my chest, right? Walk in the room and fake it till you make it,
Oh, yeah.
whatever you want to call that, right? It's I'm too old for that now. I'm too tired for that. And so
Where did we find the energy back then?
I have no idea, young and dumb,
I
right?
guess.
But it really comes back to the mind, body, soul, and spirit, right? So
Right.
we're going to talk about, I'm going to share with you all the personal things that I've done to what I feel like is create balance and success from, my fitness schedule to meditation, to my prayer, to my faith, to my personal therapy
Yeah.
that I've dove into in a big, big level to kind of peel these layers off and peel them back to expose what I believe is the authentic version
Mhm.
of who I really am, the true self, if you will. You hear that word a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so all these pillars kind of come back together to what I define as this interrupt process, right? And I want to interrupt together, right? I want to allow people to understand that interruptions are not for the bad, they're for the good. Sometimes we need to be shaken a little bit, right? Sometimes we need to be realigned a little bit. And it's no different than a NASCAR going into a cockpit, right? There's got to be a reset. There's got to be some things that those wheels aren't going to work the second half of the race,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That oil change has to be changed because of this. We got to change out those spark plugs because we know what's coming around the corner. And I believe that we have a divine creator, man, that knows that about us.
Yeah.
And he wants to co-labor with us in all of those areas. And so that's what interrupt is. It's for all of us to be invited to interrupt together, to go higher, to have a healthier perspective, to see life in a more positive light. There's so many dark things out there going on in the world right now, but I really am just a firm believer in you are what you think.
Yep.
Right? It's the power, Norman Vincent Peale, the power of positive thinking. So we're going to be talking about how to take your pain and turn it into purpose, right? Take that setback and turn it into something positive, right?
Mhm.
Take that failure and rebound and get back up and dust yourself off. And I hope that through each testimony and each story that's being told on this podcast, because we're going to get to the bad parts, right?
Sure.
But for every bad part, there's a good part.
Mhm.
And that's what I hope is going to bring this thing full circle and kind of create this excitement for people to want to listen.
And there you go. Like, what more can I add to that? This is the intersection of all things, man, all things that of depth, of emotional joy, of success. Like, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to see where it goes, guys. We're excited for you to be a part of this. This is Interrupt. This is Will Hardy. The future of this podcast, we hope, inspires you. We hope that it educates you. We hope that it changes the narrative. I think that's the proper word to use here as we dig deep into these stories of how you communicate to your spouse or how you communicate to your kids. What does your mental health look like? How is that important? And where does faith come into play with all of these things? So the future is bright. We're excited about what's coming your way. All we ask you to do is lock arms with us and enjoy the ride and take what you can from it and spread the good news.
Absolutely. And thank you for pushing me out of the boat to do this. Like I said, I mean, it's, with all that we have going on in life, all the businesses that we're running, uh, so many times that you just don't stop for moments like this enough. Right.
Mhm.
And that is my goal, to bring a little exciting interruption every week through this podcast to the listener,
Yeah.
to the audience, that can not just motivate them, inspire them, encourage them, but really let them know they're not alone. So, guys, this is it. This is Interrupt. Can't wait to bring this to you. Again, like Terry said, please follow us, and the best is yet to come. Thank you for spending time with me today. Remember, it's not about pretending the story is finished. It's about having the courage to keep writing it, even in the middle. If this podcast has encouraged you or inspired you in any ways, please follow us at interupwithwill.com and across all social media platforms. And please like, subscribe, and share for more. Until next time, keep showing up, keep rising, and keep choosing to interrupt.